Hello and welcome to Off the Bench. My name is Cliona Foley and this is a podcast about women's sport which we hope will entertain and inform sports fans of all ages and genders. You can find all our previous episodes on iTunes or on offtheball.com. Just go into the podcast series there and you'll find Off the Bench and all of our previous episodes are there. This time we're talking World Cup, and it's been World Cup around for the last few weeks, but that has been football. There is way more than one World Cup in world sport, and this time we're talking hockey. And we're joined today by three members of the Irish women's hockey team who are about to go to their World Cup, which is a huge deal because I think it's the first time since 2002 that they've qualified for it. So on my left is Nikki Evans, in the middle is Katie Mullan, the captain, and third down is Roisin Upton. Welcome to Off the Bench.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Well, delighted to have you in here. It's not often. You're probably the first hockey players ever to come to the Off the Ball studio, so that's brilliant to have you in. First of all, I'm going to throw something out to you. Preconceptions of sports. Hockey is a game for posh girls from posh schools. Can I ask you about that, Nikki? Do you think that's how people see hockey still, or has it changed?
No, not at all. I think even if you look at the makeup of the teams, the underage teams, like we've people from all provinces competing. Even here we have a Limerick girl, a girl from the north, and myself from Dublin, exactly, and people from all backgrounds come to play hockey, and
you've all come at it from different places, which is really interesting. So we'll start with you. You said you only took up hockey when you went to school, so what did you do before that?
Yeah, I think when I was younger I just wanted to play everything. I'm absolutely mad competitive, love winning, and literally any sport that I could play I was in. Predominantly played a lot of tennis and athletics. Yeah, you have an interesting connection with David Gaelic you didn't tell us about. Well, I used to be the guinea pig runner down in DSD when I was younger, so for a lot of the lads that were running, especially David was just coming into the start of his great career, and so I used to get a 50 or 100 metre start. And then David Gillick came catch me if you can. Oh my Lord.
Were you not terrified going to training every night?
No, it was more, I can't let him catch me. I have such a big head start here. Brilliant. So it actually wasn't until I went to secondary school that I picked up my first hockey stick at 12.
All right, to Alex in Dublin, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And Katie, you, the same, you it wasn't your first sport?
No, for me, I just grew up playing camogie and Gaelic in the local GAA club.
Where was that?
Owen Row, so we're based like the very tip of the country around Portstewart,
right.
Coleraine area, and that was my number one sport. Was the camogie. I was actually played hurling with the boys. There was
as many talented young.
There was two of us that played underage hurling with the boys, and then when it got to under 16 level they were just getting a bit too fast and physical, so
right. So you played camogie up until 16, like where?
Yeah, well then I played for Derry underage, and then I would have played with the senior ladies camogie team in Owen Row up until just a couple of years ago.
Really?
Yeah, we won the All-Ireland there in 2010. So that was kind of a really exciting time for me, and then I eventually had to make the choice.
And hockey then, where did you start playing hockey? Was it school?
Yeah, so I started playing in Dalriada grammar school, which was, I suppose, hockey was the main sport for girls there, but the furthest we ever got at senior level was the quarter-final of the Senior Cup, and for me, that was, I think, as big a deal as winning the Senior Cup for some of the other girls in our squad.
Because you were saying to me it wasn't strong in the school, or you grew up with getting strong in the school?
Yeah, I mean, my main focus came from the coach. She played, Bridget McKeever, she played for Ireland herself, so that was where I kind of picked up that, someday I'd love to play for Ireland. But
was she teaching in the school?
Yeah, she was the PE teacher, but I mean, a lot of my friends were maybe not as sporty as I was, so I just kind of dragged them out of bed on a Saturday morning to make up the numbers.
And made up a team.
Yeah, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, everyone has different hockey experiences in school, and mine has defined me as a player, so I wouldn't switch that to be in one of the major hockey schools.
Right, yeah. So you came up the tough way, if you like, in terms of not having big school success.
Yeah, I think so. And different things work for different people, but that definitely worked for me.
And Roisin, what about you? You're from Limerick?
Yeah, and similar to the two girls, I only started playing hockey in first year down in Crescent College. So before that, I suppose growing up with two older brothers, my big sport was playing soccer.
Really?
So I played with the boys as well up until about first year, second year. I remember actually the hockey coach in Crescent was adamant that you could only play hockey matches when it came to cup time.
Yeah.
So it was like the week leading up to cup, but I was still soccer mad. So I snuck in my soccer boots, and my parents would have been kind of on the same page just because it's cup and, stick to the coach's rules or whatever. And I snuck in my soccer boots and we ended up getting to the under 15 Munster final. And I ended up getting Irish under 15 trials off it. And I had to kind of sneak home and be like, I'm actually after getting some trials. I had a soccer match today, and my dad was like, you didn't know whether to be happy or sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I suppose at that stage.
You were a little soccer nut then, actually. Hockey wasn't the first. And where were you playing soccer? What was the club?
I was playing in Janesborough, where I was originally from, down in Limerick.
Right. And it's a big, Limerick is a soccer city as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, my dad would have been soccer mad, so it came from him.
Right. And you were saying earlier on, Nikki, that the first time you even got a stick in school, like it was too small, and you were looking at it and you were tall, and you're like, what the hell is it?
Yeah, well, I was an early bloomer anyway, so I was head and shoulders taller than everyone else in first year. And I just picked up a stick from the shed because we had PE training, and the coaches came over to me, and I was hunched over. And they said, that stick is far too short for you. And I said, I don't have a clue. I've never played this before. And I think it's really interesting. A lot of the girls in our team would have had dual sports growing up.
How many more of them?
Nikki Daly played football for Dublin.
That's right, yeah.
Megan Fraser played football,
soccer. She played, I think, definitely. I think she had trials at under 17 level, she was telling me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Deirdre Duke played football and Gaelic football for Chemical Crokes.
Did you? Right.
So,
so many of you. Elena is a Tice, I can never pronounce her name, it's a really unusual surname. Yeah. She is currently, she was both a hockey and a cricket international.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. Actually, the first time we met her was when we were invited to Orsanuktron. And she was there with the cricket team.
Really?
And then just within 6 months of that, we managed to win her over. But
you poached her back. Yeah.
I mean,
she's very talented.
She's at 19 years old. She's 50 caps for her country in 2 different sports. Like, that's just incredible.
She's phenomenal. Yeah, like I would say if she was a boy or a man, she would be. Everybody would know who she is. Like, she's multi-talented. But it sounds like you all have it. Nikki Daly is really interesting because she's also involved in motorsport. Her family are involved in motorsport, aren't they, Katie?
Yeah.
Is she kind of working in motorsport, or she's trying to get involved in a big race at the moment or something?
She studied a master's in motorsport engineering, and then she's done a bit of work over in America with teams working in motorsport, and then recently she started up a brand with a friend of hers called Formula Females, and they're hoping to partake in a race at the end of August. So that's really exciting for her, and she's really going down an all-female motorsport team.
Fascinating.
Which is a first, and she's really, really excited about that, and hopefully that brand will continue and
might make petrol heads of you all.
Yeah, exactly.
My knowledge of motorsport is as bad as my knowledge of hockey, so I'll have to learn about that one as well then. Okay, so it is a very diverse group, and as I said, I always think people imagine hockey is, this game that's played by people in private schools. It really isn't, and your team really reflects that. It's from all parts of the country, it's from all kinds of backgrounds, and even you won with Alex, which in Alexandra College in Dublin, everybody thinks, big hockey school. But actually, when you won, you were there, you said they hadn't won anything in a long time.
Yeah, I think when the first time I won the cup, it was 27 years since Alex had won it. And so it was, at the time, it was just the best thing ever, and an incredible feeling. And some of my best memories of hockey are in my school days. And,
really?
I think to be part of something then that's spurred on through the years. Alex, in the last 10 to 12 years, has just had unbelievable success and got a new hockey pitch in and new sports facilities, and it's just brilliant to see the number of kids with the huge amount of talent coming out of the school now.
And it has, as I said, it's seen now as a big hockey stronghold, but I wouldn't have realised that there was a long period where they hadn't won schools, and Schools Cup is like the biggest thing. It's like the rugby. It's like a rugby Schools Cup is massive.
It's everything.
It's everything
at the time.
Especially when you're teenagers.
Yeah, you're living in a bubble.
And it is everything. It is everything. It's your big passion in life. Okay, Rio. You went for qualification and you came close, and I think that's probably why this World Cup is, partially why it's so important to you. So maybe, Nikki, would you tell us a little bit about how close you came to qualifying and how heartbreaking it was for Rio?
So we went to Valencia in 2014, and back the format of the tournament there meant that the group stages, everyone played in a quarter-final after that, so it just depended on where you finished in the group as to who you play against. So we actually came out, we did really well in the group stages. We topped our pool, but maybe there was a few upsets here and there, and we ended up, we played China in our crossover game.
Yeah.
And that was definitely an emotional roller coaster of a game for us.
Explain to people how it finished and like what decided it.
So China went 1-0 up, and then we equalised, and then we actually scored another goal. And for a split second we thought that was, it was very close to the end of the game, but the video referral had just come in at that time, and China referred the goal, and in actual fact it wasn't a goal. So you went from thinking you were there to back to all square, and then the game went to penalties, and after 5 each, I think it was equal again, and it went to sudden death penalties. And
explain, what's the difference? What's the sudden death penalty?
So the sudden death penalties is one team scores, then the other must score to stay in it.
Automatic,
and then if they don't score, then that's it. So I think we went through 2 rounds of sudden death penalties.
Oh my Lord!
So
seven penalties taken each, still level.
Yeah, just the width of a post, unfortunately.
Hit the post
the post for us, and unfortunately, we missed out on Rio, which was a tough one. But we managed to keep nearly all of our squad together after
which is
that.
Interesting. Yeah,
and
you did.
We've come a really, really long way, and we're a really tight-knit group. We brought in a few youngsters and added a few more strings to our bow, and went to the qualifier there last summer.
And how big a deal is it to qualify for a World Cup then? Because I said, is it 2002 was the last time you were in?
Yeah.
So there's 16 teams. How hard was it, and how did you qualify?
So aside from the Olympics, the World Cup is the number one major tournament in hockey, and the stadium sold out 15,000 people, which is incomparable with all of our other tournaments that we play in. So it's definitely the pinnacle in the hockey world. For us, we went to Johannesburg last summer. Sorry, actually, we went to Kuala Lumpur in January.
Yeah, 2.
For the World League 2, and from that, the top 2 teams qualify then for World League 3, which was last July.
And was there any squeaky bum moments in that?
For us, Kuala Lumpur, we really excelled, and we came out on top there. I think we took a lot of confidence from the tournament.
Top the group.
Yeah, we did. We won the tournament. So.
And then what was the challenge then in the next one?
And then the challenge was in South Africa. So top 5 got straight through to the World Cup. We came 7th, so we knew that there was a good chance then, because in hockey it goes between top 5 in the tournament, and then the remainder of the spots go from the continental games.
It's a bit like the Olympics is similar as well.
Yeah.
So did somebody obviously won somewhere else and then was already qualified?
Yeah.
But did you have to wait and see what happened?
Yeah, so
Nikki's laughing.
So you try to do the math and you say, there's a good chance we've done enough here. We had a great finish against India in the last game, and beating them was a huge step towards us qualifying. We were 1-0 down in that game. We came back to win 2-1, and that was massive for us. And then there was a bit of waiting time, and you know yourself, you're not sure until it's officially written in paper that you're going. So that was around September, October time, wasn't it? Yeah. That became official, and it's been very exciting for us ever since.
Yeah, and then you were just gasping even thinking about having to wait, obviously. Like, that's a terrible wait. So there was a gap between you finished the tournament and you knew you qualified.
Yeah.
Good 2 months.
2 months, yeah. Goodness.
And you're half watching the other continental games,
you're on the
with
computer,
one eye open.
Yes, all watching, yeah. And the men were in a similar, I remember, situation for the last Olympics as well. They were all like wait. So you just have to be patient and wait it out.
Yeah.
And tell me then, you obviously, none of you are working full-time in hockey, or are you? Nikki, what route have you taken in terms of your career?
So I qualified as a solicitor last year with Mason Hayes and Curran, and I took a year out to go and play abroad in Europe this season.
Where?
In Hamburg with Uhlenhorster Hockey Club.
You won't say that one after a few drinks. Uhlenhorster.
Let's just say that the hockey went better than the German did anyway.
Did you speak any going over?
I had no German going over.
Have you much coming back?
I have very little German at this moment.
And tell me then, I'm interested, we were talking outside, Holland are really like the world top team at the moment, but Germany always have had a reputation of being really good in hockey. Can you be professional? Were you professional or semi-professional, or how did you make a living, or how do you do that?
Yeah, I think getting the opportunity to go and play in Europe is just to play at a higher level week in, week out, against and with some world-class players, and it's just it's a semi-professional, like they would look after you, your accommodation and expenses and a couple of things, and they really make you feel welcome. And I did a bit of coaching this year in the club with some of the younger girls.
Good, that keeps up them. That
helps me with my financially my German, and helps them with their English. But for me, it was to go and play with better players and to learn as much as I could.
So you literally took a year out from work to go and work on your game, basically.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of girls in our team have full-time jobs in the national team, and our students, masters, teachers, lawyers. So we have a good mix of people, and we train at 5:45 in the morning here, get our session done, shower, breakfast, into work for the full day, and then back out to training again in the evening. So we have a good mix in our team of students, workers, full-time workers, half workers, and a huge amount of respect for what my teammates do day in, day out. And
I've seen you do some. You did it before as well. You decide, look, if you want to work on your game, maybe you just take a year, go to the best league you can get into, and work there for the year. And how long is that season in Germany? How long were you there for?
So season started in September. The European seasons are a little bit different to here because they play quite an intense part, and then they break for the winter.
They break for the winter, yes,
and play indoors. The indoor in Germany, it's actually very big.
Oh, really?
And they had the Indoor World Cup in Germany in February this year.
Right.
So there was a lot of hype about that and excitement about it, and it's like a five-a-side football almost.
Oh,
very similar concept.
Yeah, indoors. Right.
Indoors. So, and then the season starts again in the springtime in March or April.
And how well did your team do?
Mixed emotions. We got to the European Cup final this season and narrowly lost out with 2 minutes to go to the Dutch champions.
Ooh.
So, and we got to the final of the Bundesliga and narrowly missed out as well. So
brilliant. But I mean, it was a really competitive season. Yeah.
Looking back in years to come, I'll be extremely proud.
And will you go back next year?
Yes, so I'm delighted to be going back in September. I have a 50 to 60% job working as a lawyer.
Oh, also, so you can combine both.
Yeah, so I'm really keen to progress my professional career as well. I think for me, it's nice to have a bit of both.
Yeah, a lot of athletes say that.
And pursue my endeavours outside of hockey as well, but also to have the support to play to the best of my abilities and keep progressing my hockey career.
And what you're saying then is you found you found a lot that you can work in English.
Yes,
not a German.
Don't worry,
it's not going to be German.
An English-speaking team.
English speaking company I'm taking you on. Well, that's interesting. What about you then, Katie? What do you do for living?
I have just finished up 6 wonderful years in UCD. So I completed an undergrad and a master's in biomedical engineering.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that was busy. The last kind of 6 months.
Were you a scholarship student in UCD?
Yes, I was. The whole time I was in UCD, so that was a huge support to me.
Yeah.
And with the facilities that are in UCD, you know, it really helped me balance the study.
And it meant, I presume, then that you transfer clubs to Dublin, or where was your club hockey originally?
So I played in Ballymoney when I was in school, and then as soon as I came to UCD, I started playing for UCD and played 6 years there. So a lot of my career has been in the college colours.
Yeah.
And then the next step for me is unknown just right now.
Big bad world of
yeah, big bad world. But
World Cup first, and
World Cup has taken all preferences recently, and that's kind of the main focus now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But you will have to then look to your career then after this period, because sport works like that. It works in cycles. You have big competitions. You know, there's a break. I'm thinking top athletes. That's how they have to marry that career with their sports. And what about you then, Roisin?
After 6th year in the comp, I was all set on going to Mary I in Limerick to do primary teaching.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity arose to go over to the States. So I toyed with it for a while, and I just decided that I'd head over on a sports scholarship as well to play hockey over to Connecticut for the year. So that was the original plan, and I deferred my place, but I ended up loving it. So
you were lost to teaching. Mary, I never got you back.
No, they have me now.
Interesting. So you went over, and field hockey, as they call it in America, to differentiate from ice hockey, field hockey is kind of big, and it's particularly big. I was talking to somebody, particularly maybe on the East Coast as well, at those colleges. So you went to UConn, was it University of Connecticut? And how long were you there?
I was there for 4.5 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Studying as well?
I was studying psychology.
Right.
So I looked into doing primary teaching over there, but I suppose quite obviously I couldn't with the different curriculums that they would follow, and just it wouldn't have ended up transferring home.
You wouldn't have needed the All Irish, though.
I would have had to stay over there. Yeah.
So, and you had a very successful college career, I understand.
I did, yeah. It wasn't too bad. I suppose following in the footsteps of Maggie Frey. We won the national championship, I suppose the equivalent of the All Ireland in my 2nd and 3rd year. Right. So that was pretty cool.
You made the All-American team, I understand, as well. Like their All-Stars team. Don't be shy. This is not a place to be.
Of course she did. We'll hang her.
So, how was the American college experience and scholarship experience for you?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, the first year was definitely difficult to just, I suppose there was the obvious homesickness and everything, but it was a completely different experience in the autumn semester, the fall semester to the spring semester, just because the season is so condensed.
Right.
So we would be in our season from August until November, and then it was like a long pre-season from January until May.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Very different from the season here, completely different.
Yeah,
right.
So it's much more condensed. So originally I was kind of like hooing and hawing, you know, I want to keep playing, who wants a pre-season for 4 months? But I actually grew to love it, because I think when you're playing 7 days a week or you're playing 5 days a week with 1 day off, and you're playing 2 matches, you know, just playing at that intensity and getting to improve day in, day out, and, you know, fix mistakes that you made the day before as opposed to waiting a whole week.
Yeah. So in some ways that's good, I think. Always you get that momentum and you're putting everything into practice, but it's intense, and then sometimes you just need a break. You need a decent off season. And culturally, how did you find it? And were you the only Irish girl on campus?
I didn't know too many other Irish people out there, but one of the huge draws to going to UConn, because I had been talking to a couple of different schools, was that the head coach or the assistant coach was from England. So he actually came over and visited me in December before I started, and I never realised how much we had in common with the English. Controversial.
Very controversial
statement. Last 24 hours.
Until then, yeah.
When you go to the States, though, yeah. And there was a number of girls like myself from England and Germany and Holland.
Right.
So there was a few other international students that...
So brilliant opportunity. I mean, like you going to Germany, you get a chance to go away, work on your skills, get an education, and then you've come back. And so are you in Mary I now? Are you going back to Mary?
I am, yeah. So I just finished my first year of a 2-year master's to be primary teacher.
Ah, we didn't lose it there. There'll be loads of little hockey players coming out in some primary school.
Monday hockey, Tuesday hockey.
You'd be throwing out the camogie sticks. Yeah, the hurls and balls will be going out the window. So that's brilliant. So you're all managing to do it. Is it hard to maintain a career? Because obviously the way you're talking about training in the mornings and then camps, I presume, and you've had this summer, you've had a lot of camps and challenge games and everything. Is it hard, Nikki, to combine hockey at this level for your country with, a career?
Yeah, I think personally, I've always managed to do both up until qualifying as a solicitor, and I don't think I could have done it without the support of my university, without the support of my employers, without the support of my hockey coaches, and just getting a balance of prioritising when major competitions were coming around and then vice versa when exams and time that I needed to be in work.
Yeah.
And so I think for me personally, I've always found that managing both has been quite successful for me, and I think you learn a lot from playing at elite level sport, that you can transfer some of those skills into the workplace, especially playing in a team sport, and attention to detail, playing under pressure, and
all those things are assets, huge
yeah,
assets.
and I think then that transfers back into your workplace, and having those skills and those experiences will really stand to us.
Yeah, and even time management, all those kind of things. I mean, say if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And I always think that about elite athletes, you're the busiest people usually around. I often wonder though, Nikki, do employers, of course you're probably not all into that level yet, but do employers appreciate that in women, whereas with men it's a big status symbol to have an Irish international in your company? And I'm just kind of curious, do you think it is a big a status symbol to have an international female athlete in your company? What do you think?
I'd say right now we're probably not quite there yet, but I do see a transition in the way people are viewing females at elite.
Why? When? What makes you think that?
I just think, going back, it wasn't maybe the most attractive thing to be seen as being strong and physical, whereas I think there is a transition there. I know, in schools especially, you can see the kids now are getting more into the gym as young females and things, whereas maybe that wasn't seen when we were in school. And I think also, as you touched on, there's so many skills that are transferable, and when you go into, I think when you get into a position where you're speaking to a potential employer and you can share some of your stories with them, then they start to realise that the skills that are transferable, and you can talk about, as Nikki said, any high pressure situation that you've had to deal with in the sporting world and how that can be applied in many different workplace situations. So I think it's about being able to get out and have the conversations with people
and tell them,
and enable them to see maybe kind of just how under pressure you've been, or
try explaining the pressure of a penalty shootout. For example, you can have that. And also pointing out that you're an All-American down there at the end of the table and not being modest about it, because that's what happens. I mean, women can be too modest about their achievements in sport and in lots of things in life. And it's interesting, one of the things, and there was kind of a bit of talk about it last year, they're struggling for sponsorship, they can't get sponsorship, but you've got a sponsor now. Which is Softco, and they've had a big launch and they've plugged in. They've got this massive, if anybody's seen it, I was tweeting, they've got their offices out in South County Dublin. Were any of you on it? They've put photos that are the whole size of the building, and anybody who goes into that building estate just sees you straight away, literally like giant size. So I mean, how important is that for you, and what does that kind of confidence does that give you?
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. As you said, the last couple of years we were looking for a sponsor to get on board, and I think it's just a great fit. We got to spend an afternoon, a couple of us, with Susan and a lot of the guys in Softco, and just their support, and even just the conversations that we were having. You know, when they knew about hockey, they knew parts of our journey.
Yeah.
They wanted to be part of the journey over the next couple of months, and they were excited about the World Cup. And just, you know, they're a great business. So yeah, it was fantastic. And I suppose to go off what Katie was saying about women in sport, Softco have supported us, and we've seen it across other sports as well with, is it Lidl supporting Gaelic football?
Yeah.
You know, the women's soccer team putting it to the FAI, should I say.
Yeah. And they've got sponsors on board now, and they're doing a lot of work in terms of promoting them. Yeah.
Exactly. The women's rugby, you know, whether it's the 7s or the 15s hosting the World Cup last year, and even the athletics last week, you know, the young girls. So
Fantastic.
It's been fantastic.
It's more visible.
Couple of years,
you think it's more visible, and as you said, it's more. Girls are now prouder to be stronger and fitter, and they're taking all that.
Strong as the new skinny.
Strong as the new skinny. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what we keep telling the kids anyway.
But it's true. But it is true. You know, I watch Love Island and despair and think, oh my God, you know,
It's okay.
We
watch it too.
We all watch it as well. Good. So that's helped you in your camps, pre-World Cup camps, to get through the tough days. I was kind of curious about that actually. In terms of the team, like, who's the perfectionist, Nikki? Who's the one who has to do everything absolutely perfect?
What
Is
do
there
we
one?
think?
Perfectionist.
Yeah. You know, somebody who's always like on top of everything.
Hannah Matthews is fairly, I don't know if perfectionist is the right term, but she's a primary school teacher. She's never late. She's always organised.
Everything is right.
Yeah.
Dad played rugby for Ireland, Philip Matthews.
Philip Matthews,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So she comes from a big sporting tradition as well.
Big.
Right, okay. So she's got the discipline probably from when she was young. Who's best at karaoke? Anybody?
Who loves good sing-song?
Zoe Wilson would be fairly good at the old karaoke.
Zoe Wilson is the party starter, is she?
She'd need a camera and a mic though. She'd bust a few moves.
Good.
Earplugs.
Good. Who's the tan obsessive?
Lena Tice.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
fairly naturally tanned.
Yeah,
so
it is, yeah. So she's the one.
stands out on the team.
I saw you last week. You all look pretty tanned. I was very impressed. They've all been working on their tans. And do you have a team song, or is there like when you qualify or you do well? Is there anything like that you all get burst into automatically?
Yeah, so we have like a changing room song that every time we win a game, that's the first song that's played in the change room, and everyone comes together and sings it. So,
and what is it?
Britney Spears, Hit Me Babe. No.
That would be a good one.
it's High by Lighthouse, isn't it?
The Lighthouse
The
Family.
Lighthouse Family.
Oh, right, okay, so that's the one.
Yeah,
Very
so
upbeat.
a few of our older players initially brought the song in, and the young girls didn't know it, so they had to go away and listen to it 100 times and learn it. But now everyone knows.
Now
the
you're all
lyrics,
on the
so
same
yeah,
page,
yeah.
exactly. In terms of caps, how many?
162.
As we speak, you're on 149 and about to go to 150.
Hopefully tonight.
Woo, 1.5
The order
centuries.
as well.
I mean, that's incredible. And for you, Roisin,
39.
and one of the reasons I understand is they wanted to bring you into the Irish team much younger, but you had injuries. Did you have surgeries at some stage?
I did, yeah. I missed out on getting my first cap a couple of times. I was very fortunate actually that the head coach before, Graham, who's our current head coach, kept in touch while I was in the States and kept me in the loop. So that was fantastic. So he had brought me into a couple of camps when I was home during the summer, and I missed out on getting it, I think, the December before the August before I eventually got it, and then the following January for a trip in Spain, and I thought it would never come.
Really?
But,
Oh, that must have been frustrating.
it was, yeah. So I ended up having to get double hip surgery, so that's what held me back.
Both of them or 2 and 1?
Both hips,
Both hips?
yeah, a month apart.
And is it particular to hockey, or do you just think it was your physiology?
It seems to be a new enough surgery in the past 10 or 15 years or so, and they
Loads
say...
of GA players, male GA players are having hip surgeries.
Yeah, so it's a similar one. They say that it could just be down to the positioning of being in that hockey squad position.
Yeah, you are bent over, permanently.
But it might also be kind of sort of genetically.
Yeah, it could be physiological.
So,
and when was the last time? When was the last one?
2016,
Right.
February and March. Yeah, they had told me if I didn't get it, likely that I would need a hip replacement later on. So when you say that to someone, yeah.
Oh, you only you're only 24 now, so like you were hearing that at 21 or 22?
Yeah.
That's shocking.
It was. I suppose it kind of went over my head a bit, you know, when you're like, just get it done and then I'll be back.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't really anticipate. I had many like injuries before, like all of us, I suppose. I have a screw in my foot. I've had pins in my thumbs, you know, broken.
Don't follow her through the airport X-ray.
Don't worry, we don't beep. Tried and tested.
Tried and tested. Yeah, well, I mean, that's all part of it, isn't it? Just dealing with injuries. And Katie, one of your star players has been injured for the best part of 2 years, Megan Fraser, and she's just really back now.
Yeah, so unfortunately Megan didn't have the smoothest road to recovery after doing her ACL.
Yeah, it's just
but so she's had 3 surgeries, but we've had her out on the pitch now the last couple of weeks, and the same Megan Fraser that was taking the world by surprise a couple of years ago when she was, you know, tearing teams apart is still there, so that's really, really exciting.
She's been in Germany. She went to Germany, got injured in Germany, but the club seemed to have helped her take care of her, and so you hope to have her back for the World Cup.
Yeah, and like her touch and everything is brilliant because she has been playing in Germany this season. So
she's got some
there's kind of no concerns there, and she knows, as I said earlier, that a lot of the team are still together, so she knows the team and they know her. So she'll just slip back in there and
yeah, well,
do her thing.
I'm amazed at the amount of caps, but you play a lot and you play a lot of tournaments. So I mean, what did you say?
162.
162 caps. I mean, that's extraordinary to play that for your country. We should all know you people. We should know who you are. You should be household names.
Yeah, we're the most capped international on our team, Shirley Mackay, sitting on 265.
Wow, I think they reckon she's the most capped Irish female athlete.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Wow,
so that's
phenomenal.
And she's still the most flexible person on our team, and she's the least on the physio bed. She's oh
my goodness, is she doing yoga and Pilates and all that stuff, or is she just naturally really, really strong and fit?
Well, she works full time as a hockey coach. So she spends a lot of time on the pitch. She's not sitting at a desk or anything like that.
Yeah, which probably helps. But my goodness, her record is that's an extraordinary record. Yeah, just amazing service for your country. Just finally, before we finish, what are your aspirations? I mean, I'll ask you, Nikki, even though I've got the captain probably, but I'll ask you as well. What are your aspirations? First of all, we should point out the World Cup is in London, right? Fantastic, really close to Ireland. People can go and watch. Secondly, the pitch is actually what was the Olympic pitch for London. They've moved it just a little bit down the road to Lee Valley. And so will there be big interest there, and what are your aspirations, and what's your group even?
Yeah, so the structure of the World Cup is that the winner of each pool gets straight to the quarterfinals, and then the second and third in the pool go to the last 16.
Right.
So, I mean, for us, our main goal is to get out of the pool stages. There's 16 teams in the World Cup, and we're ranked 15th.
Right, okay.
So there's absolutely no pressure on us.
Exactly, yeah.
We've done all the hard work.
Yeah.
And
who's in the group?
We have England,
Olympic champions,
USA and India. So England are sitting second in the world at the moment.
Right.
USA are 7th and India are 10th.
And you said you beat India last year. You had a brilliant game against USA, I remember, in the Olympic qualifying before, didn't you? Did you beat them or did you draw with them? I remember it was an incredible game watching it.
Yeah, we beat them in 2014.
You beat them in 2014. So, okay. And you were even saying outside, Katie, that like the rankings from kind of 5 to 16, you reckon anybody could beat anybody on the day?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we definitely as a team carry that fighting Irish mentality, you know, where we can defend for our lives and score on the breakaway. And I know from you here in the hockey world, there's no nation out there that want to be drawn against Ireland
really? Yeah.
in crossovers, because on any given day we'll be a tough side to beat. So I think we take a lot of confidence in that. That's how other nations view us, and as Nikki said, the first goal is to get out of our group, and then we take each game as they come after that.
Have you family going over, Roisin?
We do, yeah. I think that's one of the great things about it being on in London. I don't know, I grew up thinking that, I'd love to play in a World Cup Argentina or somewhere amazing.
Somewhere exotic.
Yeah. But, no,
You're down the East End.
it's worked out pretty well. I think with actually England having won the Olympics, hockey has exploded over there.
It has absolutely exploded. I mean, their Olympic final was viewed, the viewing figures went off the chart, and they were the stars of the last Olympics in terms of, and their profile is really high. And probably on that point, actually, like, who else should be, who are the stars that we will see at this tournament? Because it's being covered, there'll be live, I think it's a BT Sport, have it?
Yeah, all our games will be live on BT Sport.
All the games on BT Sport, and there's probably streaming as well. So who are the other stars, or who are the stars of international hockey that we're going to see and that maybe you're going to play against? Okay.
Well, obviously there is, as you mentioned, 8 of the Olympic gold medalists on that England team.
Still.
So you've big names like their captain Alex Danson, you've got Laura Unsworth, you've got Sophie Bray, Giselle Ansley, the list goes on. And then in other nations, you've got the Delfina Moreno is the Argentinian star, and they have another player, Granada, who's a top goal scorer. So there's definitely a couple in all the teams. And then in the States, you've got Melissa Gonzalez. So she's an incredible athlete. You'd see her coming. She's in very good shape. So she's one of their strongest players, and we'll be focusing on her for when we play the USA. But
Is that your first game?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to be a thriller then, that first game. That really is going to be huge. And the first game is always big in a tournament anyway.
Yeah.
Particularly with such a tight tournament, and your last one is against England, so you need to get a good win in the first day.
Yeah, I think for us, like, the pressure a lot of the time has been around qualification tournaments, and now we're there.
Yeah.
So we're ready to just take the shackles off.
Yeah. And as you say, all the pressure's on England. They're hosts, they're Olympic champions. There is a lot of pressure on them, and they're in your group as well. One thing I was curious about before we finish, is it possible to be to make a living, full time anywhere in the world as a female hockey player?
I think it's certainly growing, particularly in the European leagues, Belgium, Holland, Germany. They really do have as close to a professional setup as you're going to get, and training together Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, match Saturday, Sunday.
Are they getting big crowds that they can get the money in to make it professional?
Particularly with the streaming and it becoming more accessible now, and in terms of sponsors coming on board, especially in the Huff class and the Dutch league. The Belgian league is up and coming, and in the German league as well, you see more that sponsors coming and supporters through the clubs, and their system is slightly different to Ireland in that they don't have school hockey. So I suppose
it's
clubs. It's all really
through clubs.
The clubs,
right,
and the clubs.
Yeah.
Just from my experience this year, the clubs have like athletics, a gym, the tennis courts.
It's a multi-sport thing.
And so when you're talking about the members, there's massive members in the club itself.
Because they're not necessarily all hockey. There could be loads of different sports, Yeah,
and definitely some good learnings from it that, we can really try and work on here and take it back. And I think in terms of that support that they have is a big attraction with the standards.
That multi-sport thing is big in Spain and France as well, and it's really interesting how you can have, a rugby club that's also a basketball club and a soccer club and everything, and it's not something we have in Ireland, but if we had it, it'd be interesting, Katie. It might help support the women's side of their sports more. It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, especially with, how incredibly successful the GAA is in Ireland, if you could try and marry that with some other sports as well, in terms of, the whole parish ethos and getting behind the club, and, even the least sporty people in the community are behind the club in those scenarios. And I think it is something that's very interesting, and as you say, is across Europe is very successful with many sports. So I think, as Nikki said, there's a huge learning there that we can take from.
Yeah, there are models that we can look at and take forward, maybe as we try and professionalise women's sport and make it more self-sustainable as well, or more sustainable as a collaborative thing, maybe, because very often that's the problem. We talk about this on Off the Bench all the time. You need to get people out there. You need to get people on the sideline. They bring in money. They also bring in sponsors. If there's big crowds, TV, media is more interested. And it's almost this vicious circle. Yeah, and it just expands on itself. We talk about that all the time on Off the Bench, so we'll be talking about it in relation to hockey now as well. Listen, guys, it's just great to have you in. We wish you every good luck and enjoyment, because that's also part of sport, is that you really go out and you do your best and you be the best that you can. Your games in the World Cup are, the first one is against America, as you said. It's on July the 21st. It's a Saturday. The second game is July the 26th, and that's against India. And the third game, the big one, is against the Olympic champions, England, the old enemy, on the 29th of July. And that sold out straight away. I couldn't get a ticket. I went looking for a ticket months and months and months ago, and that sold out. So that's going to be absolutely crammed as well. The Irish 18 team are away at the moment as well, and there's obviously huge talent coming through. So it's just onwards and upwards, and we're delighted to have had you in to find out about hockey. Big learning day for me as well. And thanks a million. Best of luck.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Tina, very much for having us.
We've enjoyed it. That's it for this episode, folks. Remember, you can find all of our previous episodes on iTunes or on offtheball.com. Go into the podcast section there and get the series link for Off the Bench. As always, as I've said, we encourage people to get out there, get on the sidelines and support women's sport. That's really how it can grow for them and for athletes like this. So support her sport, enjoy it, and until the next time, take care.